Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm Zeus Kerravala from ZK Research, and I'm here at the NICE Industry Analyst Conference in Vienna. It's been a fun event. I'm with Thys Waanders, VP of AI Transformation for Cognigy, now a NICE company.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to talk to you because Cognigy, one of the leaders in conversational AI, now part of NICE. You run transformation, and of course, that's what we're all trying to do, right? So before we get into that content though, maybe just a quick intro on yourself and then what Cognigy does.
Sure, yeah. So Thys Waanders, originally from the Netherlands, now living in the Tampa Bay area, US.
You sound like it.
I try. Thank you. I have a background in enterprise system integration, did some strategy consulting. Joined Cognigy about 8 years ago, one of the first employees.
Yeah.
It's been quite a ride. And Cognigy is a, we'll call it an enterprise conversational AI platform. It's a mouthful, right? What do we do? It's natural language understanding, conversation modeling, self-service basically for digital channels, contact center voice. And nowadays, of course, with all of the AI going on, it's all about agentic AI.
Yes, yeah. Now, if I think there was one of the analyst reports, maybe a Gartner report, that showed all the conversational AI vendors. And let's just suffice to say, there are plenty.
It's a lot.
Right? Yeah, and some of you overlap, some of you don't. And so how does Cognigy differentiate itself in a sea of so many conversational AI companies?
Yeah, no, and it's a fair question. So when we started back in 2016, 2017, there were NLU frameworks on the market, IBM Watson, Google Dialogflow, API to the AI, but they needed a lot of coding, right, in order to really create use cases on top of them. They would just help you understand which intent the customer had, right? And we were one of the first to market that had like that low-code interface on top, so that you could model those conversations and integrate with the systems way easier. And that was back then. We also had a really strong, and still have a really strong, proprietary NLU engine. That's how we differentiated. That's how we became a leading vendor in that space with a very strong focus on the enterprise, single sign-on, self-hosting, all of that stuff, right? That not many could deliver. Now, in this new era of agentic AI, I think we've been very aggressive with adopting that. So the moment it came out, it was a bit of a wow moment for everyone in the space, right? It's like, oh, wow, are we still relevant, right, with the platform? And we got the questions from analysts like yourself, from investors. Everyone was like, well, what's this whole OpenAI, what's this gonna do, right? And then, of course, we figured, it's like, okay, these LLMs are great. They're absolutely amazing. We use them, but there's more that you need on top of it. There's the workflow management, the orchestration, the contact center integration, all of the digital channels, right? And that's what we do well. So what we did is we came up with a framework around those LLMs, an agentic framework that helps larger organizations, we've not lost the enterprise focus, adopt conversational AI and use it for customer self-service and agent augmentation.
Yeah, now NICE, who is by all accounts the CCaaS leader, if you look at the MQ, Forrester Wave, whatever document, they're always to the top right. And they acquired you, right? And so why do you think what was the rationale for acquiring you now?
I think frankly that, so contact centers have always had the challenge, right? That automation is getting increasingly more important. When we started with Cognigy, it was a bit of a nice to have, right? It was cool to do something with chatbots, right? Not fast forward till now, it's absolutely essential, right? The CCaaS vendor with the strongest AI strategy, those are the guys that win. So a lot of the CCaaS players out there, or any contact center player, they've all been eyeing and looking at the core AIs, the Cognigys of the world, right? The IPsoft, the Emilias, to see, okay, is this something we can build, or do we buy it? Do we acquire it, right? That capability. Now, I think that there has been a lot of consolidation that has taken place in the past couple of years, smaller vendors that were bought. But I think that now is the time, at least from a NICE perspective, where they really recognize and said, okay, we're probably not going to be able to build it ourselves as well as we need it, right? As well as we need to. And I guess that there's just a really great fit between NICE and Cognigy. I think that they saw that, right? Not just a technology fit, but also a cultural fit. Of course, there's a lot of conversations that are involved with a process like that, where they probably said and concluded, hey, now is a good time to buy these guys because we need these capabilities. There's a good cultural fit. There's an amazing product fit. And that must have been the rationale. At least that's from my perspective.
Now they could have just partnered with you.
But they of course they did that already with Amelia, with Omelia, right? And I don't think they've been unsuccessful with that, but I do think they recognized that they needed these capabilities in-house.
Yeah. And what's exciting to me as an outside observer is that one of the things you said was in the context center, whoever's got the best AI strategy is going to win. I don't think that's completely accurate. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but all the vendors have good AI strategies, and for the most part, you're all using the same models, and so it comes down to who's got the best data. And so now with you, they get the conversational AI capabilities, but they have spent an inordinate amount of time building out about as complete a CX platform, not CCaaS, as there is, which includes which includes quality management, workforce management, scheduling, all of that stuff. So all that data now lives in one platform. And now they can apply the Cognigy AI.
No, and I agree with that. Now, when I say AI strategy, it's the data, but it's also the orchestration, right? It's making use of those LLMs, right, that have become commodity. I think we can almost conclude, right, and then utilizing the data you have. You need some sort of orchestration capability to do that effectively, right? It's not just the conversational routing. It's like complete self-service workflows where you don't just have one LLM call or one prompt. It's way more than that. All the ecosystem, the CRM, CECs, of course, the agent workspaces, the augmentation, everything needs to play together and come together in order for those use cases to work, in order for companies to get value from all that technology.
Now, since you're VP of AI transformation, I assume you talk to a lot of customers, work with a lot of customers.
I do, yeah.
Can you give me an example of some customers that have deployed Cognigy and the kinds of transformations and results that you've seen?
Yeah, I think one of our most notable customers would be Lufthansa Airlines, right?
Which I flew to get here.
You did, and your flight did not get disrupted, so you probably did not have to use the chatbot. Maybe the way back. But
let's hope not.
Let's not. But yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, they started using. They came from the bot framework from Microsoft, right? One of those IT heavy companies that really want to build it themselves, right? And really talented people.
For that.
Yeah. And but they needed more flexibility, quicker time to market, all of the can insert defender pitch there. But they switched to Cognigy, and then one of the first things they did is provide guidance on where people could fly during COVID, right? And then from that, informational type of interaction, they went to a more transactional, having the bot actually solve a problem in terms of my flight got disrupted. That's the biggest challenge of any airline, irregular operations as they call it, right? And then having the ability to proactively inform a customer, so your flight will be delayed or you need to rebook your flight. You get an email or a text message. You click on that. The ELISA assistant, the chatbot powered by Cognigy, would tell you, say, hey, Zeus, your flight's been canceled. Here are 4 alternative flights. You get a nice gallery, all in the chatbot experience, and you can then completely rebook your flight in the chatbot. There's no linking to some other place, or it's all integrated, fully integrated with Amadeus, all the flight booking systems. And that's transformational, right? It's a completely new way of doing self-service. And frankly, it's a better way. It's a much more pleasant way to do it that way.
And how have they measured the ROI of the product? Like what?
That's a great question. So of course, there's the typical KPIs will be containment, right? How many of the chats in this case, they also do voice now, but how many of the chats did not have to be forwarded to a human agent, right? To the contact center. So that's the big one, right? How much of the volume can the chatbot contain? Yeah.
And do you know what that is? How much of the volume is being done?
I would not know for that. It differs per use case, right? But we're looking at like anywhere between 40 and 60%.
Wow.
Like very significant.
Yeah, that's a lot of
And that's not just we have many customers that see that level of deflection, and it makes sense because many of our customers have. Like their typical customer service use case, the reason people call them, they're not necessarily that complex, right? I'll give you an example. The reason people call Lufthansa in the States, so the voice line, is to check their flight status. You go like, why? You have a website for that. You can download the app, but that is one of the top reasons that people call in. Other customers like Adidas, right? Where's my order? Where's my order? It's a very simple. You could go to the website, you could log in, right? You get order status updates, but it's still one of the main questions that people have for self-service channels like chatbots.
Yeah.
So if you focus on those use cases, you get a lot of value with relatively straightforward use cases, as long as you provide the end-to-end experience, and not just an FAQ, not just this is where you can find information.
Yeah.
It might be this, might be that. No, you want to know what your
It doesn't
order
just say
is.
to you, go to the website and check your status.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, you've got an interesting role because you are helping companies transform. And what you talked about, and I think this is the low-hanging fruit for Conversational AI, is those high-frequency, low-complexity problems.
Correct.
Where's my order? With the flight status, things like that. How far are we along in being able to let agentic agents actually do things that are a little bit more complex?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm spending a lot of time thinking about it, talking about that, with customers.
We got to be close.
I mean, there's the technical, feasibility, and we're definitely close. But organizations don't necessarily work that way.
Yes.
You need to be willing as an organization to expose data in certain ways, to give these agents a lot of autonomy, and most organizations are not willing to do that. Not yet, at least, right? So it's as simple as getting access to data, to an API. You need to go through IT. There's architecture boards, right? You need to fill out security questions, all that basic stuff, and then you need to have a use case, and then IT goes and says, the architecture folks, they go like, so how are you going to use the data? What frequency? What's it for? Is it going? Is there PII data, and are you going to merge it with other data, right? And that's just the basic API integration, right? Now, if we do the whole agentic thing properly with autonomy, where these agents can actually decide themselves how to solve a problem, because that's the promise, right? That they have the ability to figure something out themselves. It's not prescribed. That requires a huge leap of faith, from an organizational point of view, from a data, safety, security point of view, that I don't think a lot of organizations are not yet there in terms of maturity. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if it could, Thys, I'm curious as to, how you think this manifests itself. Where, ultimately, if you are going to do more complex use cases, then it's not just going to be you. You're likely going to have to talk to agents that are running on other systems.
Yeah.
And now we've got, MCP, we got 808, things like that.
Yeah.
Are those going to work? Like when I think about interoperability in the communications industry, I can't get teams to send messages to Slack.
Yeah.
Right. But yet I'm supposed to believe that 8A and MCP are going to allow our agents to talk to each other. Like, is this does the industry, when you talk to your peers, is there a realization that this is really going to be a problem if we don't fix it sooner than later?
Yeah, absolutely. So we like to be and I personally like to be very hands-on with technology, right? There's a ton of people that could tell you, about LLMs, and then there's people that actually try them out, right, and get hands-on with them. And that's what we do with MCP. We do that with A2A as well. The moment you do that, you start to notice that, like MCP, for example, it's not quite there yet. Authentication has not been really properly solved.
Well, that's a big problem.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
So to your point, yes, this is going to be transformative. These things they have huge potential, because we go from having an API with a very specific specification to a mechanism where agents can discover capabilities, right? And they can learn through natural language how to use those capabilities, and that's huge. That's going to be transformative. But at the same time, the technology and the organizations themselves, right? But the technology in this case as well, it's not quite there yet. We still need. Sure, you could have an MCP server from Figma, and then you could, you could get the capabilities and do something. But doing that high volume with lots of data sources in the customer service, customer experience space, that's a next level. That's not there yet.
Yeah, and we're probably a few years away from that.
Oh,
right?
yeah, at least. Yeah.
And so when you think about the future of contact centers, when you talk to your customers, what are they looking for it to do? Is it what percentage of interactions do they think they can actually handle that way? Because I know there's a lot of stuff agents do, frankly, they don't really like doing. I mean, the password resets, things like that. No one likes those calls, right?
No, exactly. Yeah. I think it really depends on the industry, right? So there's different industries. Some are very reluctant to, go for self-service, go for automation, even agent augmentation, right? We were talking about that before. I think that everyone's starting to realize that they have to
Or maybe
because-
they just don't know though. Perhaps,
yeah, exactly. And so there's education involved there as well. But I think that everyone sees the potential of AI. I mean, it's out there everywhere, right? So from like a top down C-suite, everyone is is experiencing pressure to do something with AI to get something out of that, right? Customer service, marketing, sales, right? Those are the low hanging fruits in terms of areas where generative AI has a lot of impact, right? Yes, of course, coding as well. But manufacturing, for example, is more difficult to apply to. So customer service, customer experience, using generative AI in those domains, in those business functions, yes, that's a no-brainer for pretty much every organization right now. But you still need to have like the ownership within a company. You need someone, a team that really embraces that, right? And that is that's a mindset thing as well. If you're used to staffing thousands of agents, right, and everything revolves around, human workforce management and doing all of that, or you think your customers expect human service, you need to be willing to kind of step out of the comfort zone and try stuff out and see how your customers react to that. And so you need to gain experience with AI to see what it can really do for your organization.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point too, and I'm glad you brought up the fact that it's an organizational mindset change. Yeah. And I think we were talking about this earlier that when you think about CCaaS, historically, it has been sold to this very well-defined group, yes, right? The contact center manager. Yeah. But more and more, what I'm seeing, and I think you even echo this when you talked to me initially, a lot of your deals went through IT.
Yeah.
Now it's going through chief digital officers.
Yeah. CDOs.
For the people watching this that are working in contact centers, I think this transformation of the contact center moves out of the contact center. Yeah. That decision.
100%.
And I think that has a really interesting impact on this industry, which is historically sold to a very, very narrow audience of buyers. Yes. And I think for NICE, you can actually bring that discipline in to enable them to talk to a group of customers they've never actually ever talked to.
Yeah, we like to think so. I think there's definitely, at NICE right now, it's been a very warm welcome for Cognigy as an organization, right? Great cultural fit, as I mentioned before. And I mean, we spent a week here together, right, in a larger group. And we are as new as everyone else, joining here. Matter of fact, you have, most of the NICE people before I did, right? So you hopefully experience that there is a genuine connection between the people here. Like we like hanging out together. I think, to your point, we have a certain view on what automation can do and how to position it. Do you put it in front of a contact center, for example, right? Whereas historically, a CCaaS provider would see that differently, right? They would maybe want to sit in front and say like, hey, if a human agent or certain use cases, maybe we hand it off to a bot, powered by Cognigy. Those types of things, of course, are now like changing for NICE as well, now that we are part of NICE, right? Yeah. And it means that NICE as an organization, we can be way more progressive in terms of applying AI. Right? We can actually go AI first. This is all one platform.
Yeah,
right? It's one approach.
And I think it does need to be AI first, yeah. And so, this change reminds me a lot of when I was early in my career, the internet was kind of coming into its own. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was working in this financial firm and the CEO and head of sales came to me and they said, we need to be on the internet. And I said, well, what does that mean? And we don't know, right? But and I said,
no, we need to be
I said, do you want to put statements online? Do you want people to trade online? No, we don't want to do that. Yeah. I was like, well, tell me what you want to do. And the problem was that there was so much you could do, nobody really knew what to do, right?
Yeah.
And I think the same thing's here.
Oh yeah.
And so for people watching this, if they're working in customer experience, what's your recommendation on how to get started with this? Because they're certainly not going to boil the ocean and have a fully automated contact center tomorrow, exactly. Right?
No. So the good news is that with through agentic AI, generative AI, you can get started quite. You can start with an automated experience in a matter of weeks to months, right? It's not a 6 month to 9 month project anymore. You can go way quicker than that. If you do it well,
actually, you can do it in days, right? With your interface,
yeah. We saw the demo today, right?
Yeah,
it's minutes even.
Yeah.
But you want to polish it. You don't want to release it. So let's say at least a month to get something production ready. But that's enough for a first use case, right? And then I think it's really a matter of what I meant before. It's like just trying it out, like just release it, monitor it, right? Like stay on top of it, but see how your customers react to it. And I think that the key to a lot of use cases is setting the expectation and then offering an escalation to a human agent, right? If you force self-service on people, right, that's not a great experience. But if you go and say like, hey, Zeus, thanks for calling in. You're 12th in line right now. Would you like to try our self-service experience, right? And skip the line. You might go like, yeah, that's fine. And if you can, keep your spot, right? So you don't lose anything. There's only a potential upside. Then you might be willing to try it out, right? And if you know that if it doesn't work, if the bot or AI agent cannot help you to get connected to a human, then you're like, sure, why not, right? You need something, so you might, you play along. You're not there to, try to break it. So you're like, okay, I just need to have a copy of my invoice. Oh, this actually works pretty well. Oh, it actually got my invoice number. It's different 2 or 3 years ago, right? Like it works well enough. It's quick. You go like, hey, this is actually pretty cool.
It actually might work better than a person in a lot of cases.
In some cases, and that's only going to get better, right? And I think that's what everyone agrees on is if you try the latest voice-to-voice models from ChatGPT, for example, right? Maybe not necessarily enterprise ready, maybe discussion about it, but that's where things are headed. It's going to sound incredibly natural. It's going to be incredibly accurate, and in many ways, to your point, like better than the average human at some point. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the case. So start small is what you're saying.
Start small, but start. Do
start.
something. Don't try to boil the ocean. Don't try to over-strategize it. Just try it out.
In fact, I asked the person who runs customer experience for one of the big hotel chains, how to get started, and she said, start.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly
if you're sitting around and waiting, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So, last question, just when we look into next year, besides integrating with NICE, what's on the roadmap for you guys, as best as you can talk about? I don't want you to get in trouble.
So a lot of what you saw today, the automated insights. So just recapping for the audience, becoming more data driven, right? The most amazing thing, one of the most amazing things about NICE platform, like CX1, right, is that NICE has a lot of data points, and
so many data points,
chats, digital interactions, right? It all runs through the platform already. So acting on that data and generating an automating the automations, as Scott called it, right? That's going to be a big thing. That's one of the things that we are actively working on. You saw a demo today, right? Like stuff is real. Like we it's not all GA yet, but that's where things are headed. That's going to be a big one. So data-driven automations, very quick time to market, the focus on the right use cases, understanding what to automate in the first place based on the data. That's going to be huge. And I think the other thing is, I think we're going to go more and more into the back office, where right now, yes, we can help you self-service. We can route you to an agent. We can do amazing agent augmentation. We can collect all of the data. We can create a ticket in a backend system, but I think that there's going to be a lot of use cases where we can do more, in terms of workflow automation in the backend, asynchronously. So after you hung up, after the call's over, stuff still needs to happen. Right? Maybe we can trigger a workflow. Maybe we can interact with multiple systems like ServiceNow, Salesforce, Pega. I think we're going to do a lot more in that space. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because now you're helping the contact center administrator, chief digital officer, things like that, where typically we've looked at agentic AI as a customer-facing thing, but there is a big back office component.
Oh yeah, and I think that's where things are. That's where a lot of the value is going to be created, right? It's, being able to offer amazing experiences, self-service, and that's going to be, that's become a lot more accessible with LLMs, right? I think there's going to be a lot more focus on actually solving those problems end to end, including the back-end workflows, the automations, asynchronously, humans in the loop where required, multiple AI agents, what you pointed out. I think that's going to be huge.
All right, thanks. Well, it was a fascinating conversation. I want to check in with you maybe 6 months from now.
Let's do that.
See if 2026 is really going to be the year of agentic AI. It's certainly coming, though.
It is, for sure.
So anything else you want to add?
No, well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being
great
on.
Conversation.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. And so agentic AI is coming. NICE and Cognigy, 1 + 1 = 5, maybe.
5,000.
5,000, okay.
Yeah, and just get started. Just try it out.
And get started. That's good advice. So on behalf of Thys Waanders from Cognigy, a nice company. I'm Zeus Kerravala from ZK Research, and thanks for watching. Why don't you give us a like and also hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time on my next episode of ZKast.